I was teaching at Northcote Boys High in '82, and I had a student who was Aboriginal. I only had one Aboriginal student, and when I'd moved to the district, I'd learned that there was a very high Aboriginal population in Northcote. The school was full of mostly Greek and Italian and Turkish kids. The young boy that I taught used to get the most appalling racism from kids in the class and from his friends, and I'd been sort of, in those days, only the beginning of my awareness and education about Aboriginal rights issues. And I used to wear a denim jacket that had a land rights flag sewn on it, and all the kids used to tease me. And everywhere I'd go when I was doing yard duty, they'd follow me around going, "Land rights now, land rights now." And so this kid and I got on because of that, and also because he was being really badly treated mostly by his friends. It was just this really bad sort of cliche racist taunts that he used to get. And so that made me think, well, maybe what I'll do is a mural that addresses that in some way. And I painted it with the kids from the school, but mostly with this young kid and his friends who were the ones who taunted him. I decided all along what I wanted to do was to work with my own people, or take responsibility in a way to wake up the rest of the country to the knowledge that I was beginning to have. Really, like, the more I learnt, the more ashamed I was of what people who were, of the same ancestral background as me had done, what the colonisers had done in Australia, and also I discovered that it was still impacting people today. So it became close to my heart. It was almost like the knowledge of it was what made it important. And I suppose that's also why I wanted to do this big thing, this big mural, because I sort of figured it in a way, I saw it a bit like a billboard. It was a bit like trying to do reverse propaganda. There was so much propaganda out there that was anti-Aboriginal or blaming Aboriginal people, or just completely off the mark in terms of what was really going on. And I felt like I wanted to do something that would rectify that. Okay, so this is just some of the research. I spent many days, weeks, months in the State Library just reading. There's a wonderful woman, Kelly Kumalatsis, who was the Aboriginal Cultural Officer at the State Library, I think she was called, and she helped me enormously.
Do you think it made an impact in the community?
Yeah, it did. It made all sorts of impacts. It made both a good and we had all sorts of people coming up to us. When I remember there was one guy who came up when we were painting it, and one day we were sitting having lunch out the front of the caravan, and this man came up and just started to abuse us about what we were doing. And I remember it was even, as I said, it was in my very righteous days. I remember picking up a lump of wood and chasing him away. It was quite funny. I said, "Go away. If you don't go away, I'm going to hit you with this lump of wood." So there were people who were quite negative about it, but then more than that, there was people who were really fantastic. Well, in regards to the anonymity of an artist when it comes to doing mural work, it's sort of, I think I like it, but I remember reading an article by Gary Foley at the time, who was the director of the Aboriginal Arts Board of the Australia Council, and I remember him saying that he said there were all these white artists who were jumping on the bandwagon of Aboriginal politics. And look, it made a big impression on me, and I thought, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. It's not what I'm there for. And so I was always really happy that, in a way, it wasn't my, and I look at that mural now and I don't see it as my mural. I actually see it as the community's mural, and it, as an artist, when you do something big like that in public, and I was young when I did it, and, as an artist, it was actually not really a good thing because I got labelled a mural artist for years, and I'm not interested in murals really. I was interested in the politics of the issue, and a mural seemed to be the biggest and best way to get that issue across. And I don't want to be seen as a mural artist. And for years and years and years, people went, "Oh, that's Megan Evans, she's the mural artist," which was awful. But I like the fact that it's not necessarily associated with me, and I also like the fact that it's been really adopted by the Aboriginal community, which was what it was meant for in the first place. But I'm even more happy that it's been protected by the non-Aboriginal community, because it was for the Aboriginal community in a way, but it was really for my community. As an artist, I'd like to see it not there, because I just look at it and go, oh, it's, what I did when I was in my 20s. I wouldn't do that now, But I understand that it's important to people, and it's got nothing to do with me, really. David Gopal and his dancers were down from the Northern Territory, and they were staying in the Burt Williams hostel nearby, and the people at the Advancement League told us that they were there. So we went down and said, would they like to come and have a look at the mural? And they did, and then they agreed to dance in front of it for the media. So we had all the television stations and the newspapers come and take photos of them dancing in front of the mural, which was really exciting. It was like a chance to draw attention to the mural and to sort of link traditional Aboriginal culture, which at the time was seen as very different to what happened in Victoria. And we were trying to say, look, Victorian Aboriginal culture is just as valid as the culture from up north, which people tended to think was real Aboriginal culture as opposed to what was happening down here. So it was really great, and we got to meet him, and he was amazing. They asked would I be involved in the restoration, and I don't want to be involved in the restoration. That's like going back and painting something you painted nearly 30 years ago, and I don't do that sort of work anymore, and it's not what I would want to do. If it was up to me and it didn't mean anything and it wasn't a significant artwork and it wasn't the political message that it is, that obviously still needs to be said, given that it was just recently graffitied in a really racist way. So obviously the message still needs to be said, sadly. And if it wasn't for that, just as a personal artist, you do something really big that's 30 years old and you still have to look at and live with, it's embarrassing, really. Not that it's an embarrassing artwork, but compared to what I'm doing now, it's so not what I'm doing.